What's up, everyone? Sorry for getting a late start here. Welcome back to Wheel Route Fantasy Football. Let's try to jump in an eliminator real quick and see how full this one might be. Waiting for 10. Waiting for 10. Not so sure I should do that. I'll hit a couple slow drafts, see how quickly this might fill. Otherwise, I'll shift over to one of the smaller tournaments. Going to keep it light today. I actually had originally planned on doing a super long stream, but life gets in the way sometimes. Take a look at some of these slow drafts. Where am I here? I like to pop it out a little bit and take a closer look. I got Jaden Daniels, CMC Tootin. This is one of the $1 drafts, I think, or one of the cheaper drafts. I slow draft a bunch of the smaller field, cheapy little tournaments to kind of differentiate. Like in my bigger drafts, I like to get my guys, but then in these smaller ones, I like to hedge a little bit. All right, so what do we got? Daniels, McCaffrey, Tootin. 3 pretty solid wide receivers here. ADP is Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton. I don't get much Sutton. I have nothing to stack Dak or Herbert with. I'm at pick 79. Quentin Johnson would be an 80. Well, I could go. I'm in the middle of the draft, so if I were at a turn, I would do the Quentin Johnson, Justin Herbert. I think I'm going to grab Cortland Sutton here. Usually I kind of go with Reed or Kraft or something and go with a Green Bay stack, but I'm starting to feel better. Actually, Sutton was going in the 8th for a little bit there. I feel like he's climbing back up because this is about where he should be going. All right, anyway. Take a look at these active drafts. Just want to make sure. The eliminators. All right, so we're looking for 8 more in the eliminator. I probably got 5 or 6 slow draft picks in me before that fills. It's been filling quicker lately, but still not nearly as quick as Best Ball Mania or one of those. Take a look here. I'm at the 6-7 turn, at the 6-11. I have Gibbs and Swift, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, and Jalen Waddle. This is a turn where I can usually get what I want. Oh. So I got nothing really to stack Caleb with. DeAndre Swift doesn't really count. Joe Burrow is probably going to be grabbed at the 7-3 here. Pushed around the turn. I would like to crush the hopes and dreams of the Jamar Chase owner and grab Burrow, but it doesn't do me any good. I can get Mahomes at the next turn, Stroud much later. I could get Bo Nix, stack them, which means I'm probably just going to grab Tyler Warren here. I have tons of Caleb. Got to back off that a little bit. I'll grab some Warren. Not sure what I'm going to do on the way back. Maybe the other Warren, a little Warren and Warren turn. Could do that. Do I have Quentin Johnson ranked? No. All right. I was playing Playing tricks on me there. Anyway, maybe that was the last draft. Back to those active drafts, slow drafts. What do we got here? I got Barkley, Javonte, RJ Harvey, 6 wide receivers. Whew. I need some quarterbacks and tight ends here. This kind of looks, well, I want to say it looks like I auto-drafted some, but maybe just got locked out at quarterback. All right, so Kyler is a stack. I got that. Carolina, Tennessee are later. Chicago's passed. Knicks around. Knicks is gone. All right. So I got Myers at the last pick. Bo Nix is gone. It's Kyler Murray time for sure. Oh, and that was in the 10th round on the bounce back. So not sure what I was thinking there, but at least I got one stack and a quarterback. Good to go there. Take a look at that Eliminator, see if it's filled or getting close. Yeah, we need 3 more for the Eliminator, so it should be filled relatively soon. If you're watching, please jump in. Let me know in the comments where you are, what's going on there. All right, let's close that and that. I'm going to check out one more slow draft here. Pop out the draft board because I'm going to pop out the other one, just take up the same slot. All right. On the clock. Looks like I got running backs lined up here. I got a Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence stack. Need some running backs. Only got 3. 5 receivers. But need tight end too. What do I got? Tight end. Switch to ADP. It's usually a better look. Strange. I got sniped. The pick before me was Strange. Would have really liked him. Maybe just grab Gadsden instead. Or I could do a Kenyon Sadiq. Where am I? 13.8. Do I go running back? Yeah, what the heck. I like Jonah Coleman. He's pretty close in ADP. He's got a bye week that's different than the rest of them. I do have a lot of Coleman, I think, though. Oh, well. He came in the right spot. Move these tight ends up a little bit. And kick back to the... All right, where am I? Did the Eliminator fill? 1 spot left in the Eliminator. Let's go here and kick out this draft board. Whoa. That's a different Eliminator. What's this? I got something mixed up. Where's my Eliminator that I thought I just clicked on? Slow. Feels like it must have just filled. There it is. Starts in 22 seconds. Let's go to this draft. Kick out that draft board so y'all can take a look at the board. All right. In the Eliminator, get my mind frame right. So we are looking to stack earlier in the season. Or not stack earlier in the season. We're looking for early season performers. So we're going to take the reverse philosophy of Jamar Chase goes at the 1.1, and of course I'm not sitting at the 1.2 or 1.3, so I can really benefit from that. But we want to hedge our bets towards winning week 1, really. In all other tournaments, we really gear towards winning during the playoff weeks, and even, putting a large emphasis on week 17. In the Eliminator, we hedge towards the first weeks. We want to win each and every week, and basically head-to-head style matchups. It's more like cash game DFS. And I start out with Ashton Ginty. I think Ginty has the possibility to be the top fantasy performer overall. He has a chance to replace CMC as that running back that we're drafting at the 101, back when CMC was younger and healthier. And on top of that, Ginty has a week 13 bye, which in this format means something. We want to win weekly head-to-head matchups. And just like in your redraft league, I'm going to grab Derrick Henry, but it really leaves me with kind of a dilemma that if I get to week 13, I'm going to be in some trouble. But getting to work week 13 means I'm in the thousands of dollars won already. What I can just do to make sure is any other running backs I get definitely don't have a week 13 bye. But I will be running back strong through 12 weeks. So really what I could and should start to do is really focus. I'm not going to get Breece Hall. That's a week 13 bye. If Breece Hall comes all the way back to me in the third, I'm going to be a bit sour grapes. But we want to win at least the first 6 weeks. I think 6 weeks gets us our money back. I really would have to check the payout structure. But we win the first 6 weeks, and then you start winning money. So week 1, you go against your league, and you have to finish in the top 6. Then you have head-to-head matchups for another 15 weeks until week 17, where you had a 3-way. Sounds a lot more fun than it probably is during the sweat, but oh man, I'm going to end up stacking these late bye weeks pretty quickly. Ooh. Which screen? You're looking at my draft board. Okay. So it's all about winning straight off the jump and not having to worry about that late season playoff battle or the DFS philosophies of scroll the F down or playing for upside. You really want to make sure you've got a solid floor. I'm not going to go Josh Allen. Why do I have him in the queue? My real choice is between Zay Flowers and Josh Jacobs. Looks like I'm kind of building a Baltimore stack there. I won't be reaching for Lamar. I've seen Lamar go in the 4th round in this, where he goes in the late 5th in most other style tournaments. I could have drafted Josh Jacobs there. That would have made me feel a lot cozier about that week 13 running back situation. But it is time to get some receivers here. And these receivers in this range really have what we should consider a super safe floor, except for Chris Olave. I'm not so sure about his health. There's possibility he holds out for contract negotiations. And just, I think he's fragile overall. I guess that's my drawback to Chris Olave. Coming up, we have an ADP Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Lad McConkey. Garrett Wilson has a week 13 bye, which makes him a little bit appealing here. And yeah, in the 4th round, I think the Jets will probably have a resurgence. I'm going to be dead week 13. So far, all of my players have a week 13 bye. But the other thing there is this. When you get to week 13, chances are half of the teams also have stacked week 13 or week 14 buys. Or they're probably more likely than any other bye weeks, because those are the teams that have been able to field full rosters all year long going into the last weeks of this, toward the last weeks of the season. Really what I'm kind of looking at here, though, is with your first 4 guys all having the same bye week, I'm taking an L in week 13, but I'm going to do everything I can to really get there. The philosophy kind of changes here from winning everything to getting to week 13 and crossing my fingers that I'm running into somebody that has a ton of injuries or stacked work week 13 buys as well, something like that. And then if you get through week 13, I'm sitting quite pretty. So I feel good about the way the team looks. Just kind of there's a 1 week, but it's super late. If Lamar does come back to me, I will grab him. So my first 5 picks will all have the same bye week. But all right, there goes Jackson. Running backs and quarterbacks tend to go a little bit earlier in this format. So, as long as we're ready for that and expecting it, no problem. And I'd imagine that kind of stack could have been somewhat detrimental. I think Davante Adams is probably going to start out pretty strong. Last year, there was a noticeable difference when he started getting banged up and really slowed down towards the end of the season. But they rested him a little bit towards the end. And during the playoffs, he looked rejuvenated again in my eyes. So I would expect he'll start, they'll probably rest him a lot during the summer. But those first couple of weeks, they're going to lean on him for end zone targets. And he will be the Davante Adams we all know and respected and enjoyed for fantasy for years. He'll probably do that for about 6 to 8 weeks and then tail off again. So that's really all I'm going to need somebody for week 13, aren't I? I'm going to go with somebody who I think is going to be a steady performer all year in Rome Odunze. I think if this were a Best Ball Mania format or some other tournament of that nature, I would be going Brian Thomas for upside. But Rome Odunze should see an uptick in targets and usage with DJ Moore gone. No, they don't play the same position, but the targets are still out there. I feel like somebody else has gone there too. I guess not gone, but Komet will probably see a downtick in snaps as well. Odunze will probably be the third target, but should still get, a 19-20% target share. All right, so I got 4 receivers, 2 running backs. I could use a quarterback. Running backs are always a good idea, especially when you have 2 with the same bye week. Just going to queue up some guys here. Stacking isn't super important here, so I'm kind of not going to worry about it all that much unless it falls in my lap. it's easier to stack Jalen Hurts in this format because the Mekhi Lemon hasn't surged up specifically for the stack. If you guys have noticed in the past 3 weeks or so, Mekhi Lemon has steadily climbed about 2 rounds in ADP, strictly for the Jalen Hurts stack, which I don't think is, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done it, but I don't think it's an optimal way to play. I've committed myself to only grabbing Hurts in Devontae Smith stacks, so I've gotten a whole lot less Hurts lately. I had a ton of them early on. This format, though, I am going to grab one of the 2 quarterbacks that are coming up, either Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert. Herbert goes probably, there might be a stack there, maybe there. That I don't see the sense in drafting Herbert ahead of Hurts here, but you get your guy. That's fine. Never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut. No big deal. So I have Ginty, Henry, Flowers, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Roma Duzay, Jalen Hurts. At the turn, Lawrence, Pierce, Parker, Washington go. Coming back to me, kind of wanted Dobbins. There goes Mekhi Lemon. I could have stacked him. I will go with Blake Corum. Blake Corum is going to split more touches with Kyron Williams, as he started to at the end of last season. They it was more of a 60-40 kind of split. There were even some games where Corum, I believe, out-touched Kyron Williams. I think you're definitely going to see that during this season, but we definitely have to know and understand that they like and trust Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams has very little upside. That is why they rest him and give Corum touches to try to play into that upside a little bit. Maybe Gainwell could have been a better pick there, but I have very little Corum and kind of wanted to get him rostered. Harold Fannin is one that has slid down in ADP, and he's falling into a range I truly like. Patrick Mahomes in the 9th round, I could never, ever deny. If there's anybody watching that's actually in this draft, just leave a comment. Let me know where you are. I'm streaming, so I like to talk and kind of let you guys know what I'm thinking, but I don't want to give away all my secrets in the same sense. And it's not that I think that you're going to intentionally snipe me if I talk out loud and tell you what's on my mind, but it puts the thought in your head that maybe wasn't there already. I know, because I'm on the other side of this, and usually what I do is I comment all the time, so I'm a loudmouth, and that's a reason why I'm like, you know what, I should probably just get on and start a stream myself. I talk enough. I have enough thoughts. I have enough comments that I should just get on a mic and start talking. It is funny how many things just slip your mind as you're starting to talk on stream, and you forget names, you forget, positions, you forget teams that it's just kind of wild. It's a different animal on this side of the mic. All right, coming up on my pick, and I haven't been servicing the audio listeners very well. I'll start going through each pick as it goes after this turn. Harold Fannin goes. Looking at some good receivers and quarterbacks here. I'm I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. This is a format where you get we're getting 3 quarterbacks is smart. But this way I can literally wait until the last round if I want to grab a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes has an early bye week and might start out slow. But I think Jalen Hurts can get me through that. If a stacking opportunity presents itself, I will take it, but not dying to get it. Actually, there's 2 possible stacks by ADP. All right, so Worthy goes. So that allows me to do the smarter thing. Man, there's a couple of good receivers there. That's really tempting, actually, right now. Stacks aren't that important. I should go with Jordan Addison there. But I'm addicted to stacking. And even in a head-to-head matchup, stacking does give you, in best ball, stacking does give you a slight edge. Because, if there's a week, well, anytime Travis Kelce scores a touchdown, there's probably a time that Mahomes is also putting up points. Yeah, it does kind of leave me a little bit weak on their bye week, week 5, but I have stuff to make up for that. And it's not a big deal. Jordan Addison would have been nice to have, but he also has a week 6 bye, so it's still early. It might actually benefit me for later in the season, but we'll see. Running back or wide receiver should be plentiful as we move throughout this draft. Just looking to queue up some guys. All right, so after my Kelce pick, and actually I'll backtrack to my Mahomes pick. After Mahomes, we see Aaron Jones, Sam Laporta, and Xavier Worthy to close out the 9th round. Starting the 10th, we see Kyler Murray, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, or Bill, Wandale Robinson, Travis Kelce, Jordan Addison, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, George Kittle, Jared Goff, Mark Andrews, Tyler Shuck to close out the 10th. Starting the 11th, we have Romeo Doubs. What am I looking at? I am looking at something like Tracy or Chris Rodriguez, maybe Jaden Higgins. There's something here that I like. Probably get him on the bring back though. Well, maybe not. Depends. If I can grab a running back here, I will. Otherwise, I'm probably looking at a tight end. I only have 4 receivers too. This in this tournament, this Eliminator tournament, most of the time, almost all the time, I'm going with a 3-5-7-3 build. That's 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 receivers, and 3 tight ends. But that is subject to change depending on kind of how things fall out. Waiting on Zach Chopper to make a pick there. He grows with likely. I'm going to go with Tyrone Tracy. I'm not a scatterbust believer. I'm not scataboo. I do not feel like I don't feel like he'll be healthy for more than half the season. He's slow. He's coming off an injury that probably happened because he's slow. He's intense. He's reckless, but that doesn't really always work in the NFL. It works great in college, and I can tell you it works great in college rugby. I played college rugby exactly how Cam Scataboo plays NFL football. But let me tell you, I had a concussion every other week before we knew what concussions did, and look what happened to me now. So, yeah, I've been calling Scataboo Scatabust all offseason. I just don't see him living up to what's a 4th-round pick. I'm going to grab Dallas Goedert here. I'll say it repeatedly. Stacks aren't that important, but I think Goddard has been. I think he's being way underdrafted. Maybe not way underdrafted because Kincaid is sitting there too. He's being underdrafted. But all of like Goddard, Kelsey, Mark Andrews, they should be. Did I say Kincaid? Those 4 I feel like should be going right ahead of Kittle. Kittle should be probably going a round or 2 later. We don't know if he's going to come back from that injury. And just the other tight ends, I feel like are more consistent and more reliable than, say, Jake Ferguson, who's now going to be the 4th or 5th option in Dallas. Isaiah Likely on a new team and was, he went with his new coach, but he wasn't used a lot when he was on his old team. There's just got Chigakonkwo. I think he's going to do real well in Washington. But, it's his first year there, and he really didn't prove anything in Tennessee. So with Goddard and Kincaid back with their same teams in the same role and hopefully healthy this year, and Goddard with less competition, I see a big season for him. All right, so after in the 11th round, I'm going to pick back up where I wanted to rattle off guys, but it's coming back to me. Draft is moving rather quickly. Let's see. I could probably use, you can always, no, I don't want to close out my running back room yet. Wide receivers, I already have a jet. Don't want another jet. Ugh. Options here are not great. I am going to reach a little bit and grab Dylan Sampson. Oh, that leaves me 2 week 11 buys, but I like that running back room. I feel like Corum, Tracy, and Sampson will at least put up a few points every week and could possibly cover that week 13 for me. Time to focus on some wide receivers here. I didn't like, not so high on the tight ends or receivers that are in the next few in ADP. But then again, when we get into the 13th, 14th round, it starts to become slim pickings. There's a lot of darts later, but this is an area of the draft where it's kind of a dead zone. It's much like you're starting to throw darts a whole lot earlier than you ever used to. I might grab a tight end here. It's not a floor tight end either. No, that's not what I want to do. Having some dilemma here. Do I go Flournoy just because he has a week 14 bye? That's a possibility. I'm not going to grab another Jet and Adonai Mitchell. I could grab Kenyon Sadiq for upside at tight end. I'm going to go Flournoy. Not a usual pick here for me in the 14th round. I enjoyed Flournoy when he was in the 16th, 17th, 18th rounds. But having the late bye week, maybe he can fill in the gaps in week 13 there. I could philosophize that by week 13, George Pickens starts to quiet quit and Ryan Flournoy steps it up. Really, I will probably only need him during week 13. Travis Hunter is staring me in the face there too. High upside, but super inconsistent. But yeah, in the 14th, 15th round, so what? In fact, I'm looking at a possibility of Debo Samuel at this point. Just gonna Jerry Judy. I like maybe some AJ Barner at tight end. Malik Washington should be Miami's wide receiver one-ish. And he has a week 6 bye. Gunnar Helm, it's possibility at tight end there. I think that's where I'll go if he's available at my pick. Oh, he gone. Could do Dolchich, but Miami just irks me. Could do Freiermuth. Might do Freiermuth. Then again, there's tight end that I can do super late. I like a bunch of receivers in this zone, but they all seem to have the same bye week. I'm gonna go with Jerry Judy. I think he presents a pretty good floor. He's one of those every other year guys. Last year was a down year. The year before was a good year. Hopefully this year is a good one. And it matches Devontae Adams' bye week. But I might be able to squeak one more. Week 11 bye. Week 11 is the point you really want to make it past. I think that's where the money steps up. I think it's to $1,000. So if I can get $1,000 out of each of these, I'll be cool. All right. I'll go. Zachariah Branch was the other guy I was eyeing up with that week 11 bye. I'm gonna go Dontavian Wicks. Little stack with Jalen Hurts. Go tight end and a wild card to end this draft. Ooh, probably should have grabbed Freiermuth there. Dontavian Wicks probably would have stuck around. But could hedge a different way as well. Still a couple tight ends there that I gravitate to when it gets this late. Nobody touching Fernando Mendoza, probably because they don't think he'll start the season. There he goes, as soon as I open my mouth. After this, I'm going to jump in either I'll probably jump in at Chihuahua. I'm doing almost all of them slow, but I think I have 5 left so that I can do one fast, and then I'll do that and then close out with a German Shepherd Superflex. I don't want to throw the Superflex in the middle of the non-Superflex. Might get a little jumbled in my own head. Ooh, all right. So my normal last round guy, Tua Tagovailoa, disappeared on me. He went right after Geno Smith. Probably should have grabbed Geno instead of Flournoy. I think I know what I'm going to do here. Could grab Freiermuth. I'm going to go. Oh. I'm going to draft Kirk Cousins because if he can help me in the week 5 bye, if Kirk Cousins just starts 5 games this season, get me through that start of the season where Mahomes might start out slow, cover the week 5 bye. Jalen Hurts will probably be dominant in 3 or 4 of those games anyway. So if I just get through that, Kirk Cousins can help me do that. As far as the tight end, I've passed on Freiermuth twice now. I've become a little bit hesitant towards Freiermuth. Even things seem like they're lining up for him. If he was still there, I would have gotten him. But my hesitancy towards Freiermuth is that Darnell Washington was asked by the team to lose weight, and he did. He lost about 40 pounds. He went from about 311 to 270. He was already fast and athletic at 311, so he's going to be really fast and athletic at 270. That, I think, is going to cut in on Freiermuth's targets. I also think that, the acquisition of Pittman, the rookie Jeremy Bernard, and the fact that DK Metcalf is tight end size to begin with could all kind of cut in on that idea of Freiermuth breaking out this season. So I went with a little kind of mini stack and grabbed Michael Mayer. Now you might say, well, why would I grab a backup tight end instead of a starting tight end of Freiermuth? Michael Mayer, in my mind, and actually as I'm doing this, I'm going to jump in a Chihuahua real quick. Do a quick Chihuahua and just waiting for 2 people. So if you want to get in a Chihuahua with me, jump on in real quick. I will go over this. All right. And it's filled. But we have a minute before it ends. So Michael Mayer is going to be, I see him being in a bit about 80% of snaps. I see Michael Mayer being the starting inline tight end, with Brock Bowers being an actual receiver in a wide receiver position. Yeah, once in a while, he'll come down and play tight end because he can block, but that's not his specialty. Michael Mayer is an all-around, top-notch tight end. He'd be starting on just about any other team. So I do think he's going to get probably about 80% of the snaps, be their guy in 12 formations. Again, but their 12 formation will have another tight end on the field, but Brock Bowers is a receiver who has tight end eligibility for our game. But in all reality, when you see him play on the field, it's very wide receiver-ish, very slot, and even outside wide receiver. Okay, so my Eliminator team: Ashton Genty, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson, all week 13 bye, which should give me an edge for 12 weeks. But I mean, if I make it to week 13, I think I got 10 grand in my pocket anyway, or something close to that. After those first 4 week 13 buys, I went with Devontae Adams and Rome Odunze. Come back with Jalen Hurts. In the 8th, I grabbed Blake Corum, little floor play there. And then come back on the 9th with Patrick Mahomes, stack him with Kelsey in the 10th. Come back with Tyrone Tracy in the 11th as I bashed Scattaboo, as I seem to in just about every draft. Talked about Dallas Goedert, who I grabbed in the 12th, being a value. Dylan Sampson, I have quite a bit of. He is my running back 5 in this. So I feel pretty good about my running back room, even with 2 of them have a week 13 bye. Then I come back with Ryan Flournoy, Jerry Jeudy, Dontavian Wicks for a little mini stack. Dontavian Wicks was a bad pick. Not sure who else I would have gotten there, though, but the that kind of stack isn't that smart. can present some big upside weeks, but not a consistent floor at all. Kirk Cousins, I said, to get me through the first few weeks of the season while Mahomes gets up to speed. And then Michael Mayer, I talked about a bit as well. We are in the second round of this Chihuahua. And I am in the 2-hole. Anybody else in here? Anybody else in this draft? Let me know where you are. I can talk about your draft, or I'll keep quiet about it if you want. This draft starts out pretty normal with Gibbs, Robinson, Chase, Puka, and JSN going top 5. Then we see Jonathan Taylor and Ashton Genty go at the 6 and 7. ARSB at the 8. CMC at the 9. Justin Jefferson at the 10. James Cook at the 11. CeeDee Lamb at the 12. Barkley to start the 2nd. Then Omarion Hampton, Brock Bowers, Devin Achane, Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker at the 2.6. That's a value. That's sliding a little bit. Derrick Henry at the 2.7. A.J. Brown at the 2.8. Drake London at the 2.9. And I was talking about this earlier today. The 2.10 or 210 goes Nico Collins, but then the 2.11, you're kind of left with a tough decision. After drafting running back in the first round, do you reach for Love or Breece Hall, or get yourself a wide receiver? And the Rashee Rice pick is a high upside, kind of a gamble-ish type pick. But his upside, is wide receiver 1, and that's why you draft him there. Devontae Smith probably will be a top 10 wide receiver this year, being the wide receiver 1 in Philadelphia. But can he kind of be that alpha wide receiver for a full season? We'll see. We've seen him do it in flashes or for, periods, 6 weeks at a time, but a full 17-game schedule might be a lot of wear and tear on a rather skinny yet athletic man. In the 3rd, we see Breece Hall go. Love Breece Hall. Got a bunch of him. Need to get caught up on my Jordan Love. Jeremiah Love. So I got him at 3.2. Then we see Travis Etienne, George Pickens, and Chris Olave go. Trey McBride finally going at the 3.6. Trey McBride is consistently falling there to a value. The 3rd round Trey McBride is definitely worth grabbing. After Trey McBride, we see Kyron Williams. I have to get my mind frame back on. Let's go for high upside in this Chihuahua. Now a Chihuahua, I believe. I'm going to, no, that's not what I want to do. Where'd it go? Shoot. Let me see. We have 2 out of 12. So I got to come in 1st or 2nd in this league. And then it's 1 out of 9, 1 out of 6 in a 217-seat final. So again, we're gearing our team towards trying to win week 17. Weeks 15 and 16, 1 out of 9, 1 out of 6. Much easier than the larger field tournaments. Still not easy, but if you have a healthy team through then, you should do all right. We really need to beat 217 people in week 17 for the money. So that's kind of where we're going to focus. We're going to do that by stacking and drafting the best players. That's what it's all about. After Kyron Williams, we see Javonte Williams, Josh Allen, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers at the 3.10. I need to be in back of drafts more often if Zay Flowers is going to fall to the 3.10. I've been reaching for him up at like the mid-3rd, I'll say. This Chris Olave zone, George Pickens. He's right there positionally. Just had a few other positions go in between. Malik Neighbors at the 3.11. have been trying to lobby streamers to start drafting him later, start letting him go, and maybe he'll fall to the fifth in a couple of weeks, but it doesn't seem like anybody else is listening to me. To close out the third, we see T. Higgins, and then to start the fourth, Garrett Wilson, Lad McConkey, Josh Jacobs, Terry McLaurin, Emeka Ibuka, Jalen Waddle, Tatora McMillan, Cam Scatterbust. And it is coming up on our pick. We see Mike Evans go at the 4-9. Looks like either, then we see Devontae Adams. Do I want to go Luther Burden or Colston Loveland? I'm going to go Loveland and cross my fingers that either Burden or Jamison Williams make it back to me. Burden gone, Jamison Williams does make it back to me. So I've been grabbing Loveland at this turn in the fourth round because I feel like I can push that wide receiver around. That one was rather risky, though. If I was in H. Perkins and a number, if I were him, I would have grabbed two wide receivers there. David Montgomery as a RB3, I don't think gives you enough upside. David Montgomery is a total floor play. I guess Houston's offense just isn't high-powered enough. Actually, I guess David Montgomery will be getting a lot of fourth-quarter rushes. They don't have a very strong offensive line. I think he'll be better than Nick Chubb was last year, but still, I don't think he has the massive touchdown or yardage or big play upside that you would really look for in the top 50 picks. But I do like him as a floor play. So if I go like 3 or 4 receivers to start, grabbing Montgomery in the fifth is kind of a perfect stopgap there. But in this type of situation as an RB3, I can find RB3s much later in the draft that will fill in the cracks in the first two RBs. Really, what he's doing with Montgomery there is filling the flex, and you don't want to fill the flex with a floor play. You want to fill the flex with upside. Sure, he's got quite a few more picks to do that, but I think Jamison Williams is a high upside play that I definitely would have grabbed over him. After Williams goes DeAndre Swift, Bucky Irvin, Bashal Tutin, Quinshon Judkins, Carnell Tate, Trey Henderson, DJ Moore, Lamar Jackson, Brian Thomas, Joe Burrow, and Prescott at the 5-6 turn. Then in the 6th, Christian Watson, Marvin Harrison, Jalen Warren, Rome Odunze, Jordan Tyson, DK Metcalf, and we're about 3 picks away from my pick. And what do I see here? What do I got? I have Rice and Williams and Loveland. Oh, what am I looking at here? Oh, I got to switch this to ADP. So by ADP, Tyler Warren, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts. Even though I have Colston Loveland, I guess I could grab either one of those around the turn. I'm just going to grab Jaden Daniels here. Theoretically, I could have grabbed a wide receiver. And a lot of times what I do is I grab Mekhi Lemon to try to force Hurts around the turn. And if I didn't get Hurts around the turn, I can always go with Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, depending on, what happens there. I guess I'll do the 2 QB thing here. It's just that I don't feel the need for another running back in this zone. And the wide receivers, I'd be looking at Cortland Sutton or Jaden Reed. I guess I could have gone with either one of them. But I feel as though, what the heck? I'm done at quarterback now. I don't have to grab a third. Jaden Daniels doesn't need to be stacked, but I'll look to throw in Chigakonkwo to stack him later. I have Caleb Williams stacked with Colston Loveland and maybe an 18th round wide receiver there as a dart throw that I can stack him with. But I will look at some bringbacks. Week 17 bringback for Washington also has the same bye week as them. It's the Jaguars. The bringback for Chicago is Detroit. So I'll just keep an eye on guys like Laporta or I already have Jameson Williams as the bringback. Okay, so that week 17 Chicago Detroit I already have in the bag there. Looking good. Happy with that. I guess I probably should have passed that up, going with Jaden Reed maybe, because I do have Rice and could have been looking for a Mahomes stack later. With my luck, Mahomes is going to come all the way back to me, and I'm going to be kicking myself. All right, so after my Caleb Williams pick goes Jalen Hurts, and then Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton, Chuba Hubbard, Alec Pierce, Chris Godwin, RJ Harvey, and Rico Dowdle closes out the 7th. To start the 8th, we see Blake Corum, Justin Herbert, Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, Jonathan Brooks I like a lot, and I have a ton of them. I think I'm still over 30% of Brooks. But I was getting him in the 14th, 15th round. I chased him all the way up to the 9th. I swore I wouldn't go single digits. But that's it. If he's going in the 8th consistently, I got to say goodbye to Jonathan Brooks, at least for a while. After Brooks goes Josh Downs, Patrick Mahomes, Tucker Kraft, and Trevor Lawrence. Mahomes being picked there makes me feel comfy, cozy about the decision I made with the quarterbacks. Crossing my fingers for a couple of receivers to show up here. Feel like I've fallen behind there a little bit, but not going to reach for guys that I don't think are worth it, like Michael Wilson. Look at that. Jaden Reed comes all the way back to me. I was going to reach for him at the 7.2. He comes to me at the 8.11. Cha-ching. That's what I'm talking about. And Jordan Addison sitting right here too, really. I was going to go Worthy, but I already have Rashee Rice. I'm going to get Jordan Addison. I feel good about Jordan Addison. I don't think Juwan Jennings is a real threat to his upside. Juwan Jennings is basically filling in the Jalen Naylor role, right? Might steal a few tutties here and there, have a good week here and there. But Jordan Addison was a first-round pick. He's no Justin Jefferson, but he is, I don't want to say a 1B because Justin Jefferson is an elite, but Jordan Addison is a very good wide receiver that should probably be going before the likes of Parker Washington, definitely before Mekhi Lemon. He should probably be going in that Adunze, Tyson, Metcalf range. Yeah, for sure. In the 6th round, I could see Jordan Addison climbing his way up to the 6th round. Definitely 7th round pick. I like him. I like Jordan Addison better than all the round 7 receivers picked in this draft. So really happy with that turn. It's really making me feel good about my picks. I am a little bit behind at running back now, though. So it's funny. They probably won't come back to me, but I'm looking at Kenny Gainwell and Rachaad White, who just gets drafted. This is the zone where I started to scroll down a little bit further and find my Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks no longer being here. It is slim pickings at that running back position, but I'm just going to have to switch it up and get some new faces in there. Spread out my exposure a little bit. It is a pretty good wide receiver zone in this area, though, too. All right, so quarterbacks, Daniels. Just need to look for Chigakonkwo, really. And that's later. See Travis Kelce popping up. I'm in the Kansas City mentality because of that early Rashee Rice pick. Got to get that out of my head. Don't need to stack Kansas City. After my Addison pick went J.K. Dobbins, Xavier Worthy, Harold Fannin, Jacoby Myers, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Ricky Purcell, Rashad White, Kyle Pitts, and Michael Pittman closes out the 9th. To start the 10th, we see George Kittle, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Wan'Dale Robinson, Matthew Stafford, Matthew Golden, Kenneth Gainwell. 4 picks until I am up. Let me just check out. All right. Couple floor running back plays I'm probably looking at. Guys like Kelce and Andrews are still staring me in the face, as I was saying before. I just think they have a higher upside than they're being drafted at. Come on, give me my guy. Give me my guy I want. Actually, he got taken. All right, I'm gonna grab Ja'Cory Krusky Merritt. I worry that the flash is worn off of him, and hold on one second. Do I have him? I'll go with Jaden Higgins to give me a 5th wide receiver. Not so sure that was a great pick. Could have gone with Casey Concepcion, could have gone with Kelce or Andrews, Andrews went right before me, and Goddard went right after me. So the picks right before when I got quiet, after Gainwell went Dubs, Baker Mayfield, and Aaron Jones. I wanted Aaron Jones. I took Ja'Cory Krusky Merritt instead, and then Tyler Shook and Mark Andrews go with a turn. I went with Jaden Higgins. I do think he's going to be a solid wide receiver, or Houston's 2nd wide receiver, so should give me some sort of floor, although in hindsight, I probably should have gone with Goddard or Kelce, or even Dalton Kincaid, which goes right there. So after my pick went Goddard, Kelce, Casey Concepcion. I was thinking about him, but I already had Jaden Reed with a Week 11 bye. And as I said, later on in the draft, there's a group of wide receivers I like, and a bunch of them have a Week 11 bye. So I don't want to – I'd rather stay away from 3 players at any position with the same bye week. It's just kind of something that's trapped in me from the old MFL Best Ball 10 days, or MFL 10 days, they call them. MFL 10s is how Best Ball really started in popularity. There weren't tournaments. So that's why I passed on Casey Concepcion. Khalil Shakir, at that price. In the 11th round, actually, I should be getting a little bit more Shakir. Jordan Mason goes after that. Jake Ferguson. As I said in the last draft, I've kind of been soft fading. I only get Ferguson when I have Prescott. I just think that he's now the 4th or maybe even 5th option in that offense. Maybe a couple touchdowns here and there, but these other guys that go in the range, I feel like are better picks. After Kincaid, we see Diggs, Rashid Shaheed, Tyrone Tracy, who I was thinking about picking at the last turn. Start the 12th with Jalen Coker. Chigakonkwo in the 12th, that kills me. That was literally my next pick. Then we see Jalen McMillan, Chris Rodriguez, Isaiah Likely, 3 quarterbacks in Ward, Stroud, and Malik Willis come off the board. I like grabbing those 2 quarterbacks I like grabbing 2 quarterbacks between the 6th and the 9th rounds, but because by the time you get to the 12th round, you're really talking about quarterbacks that should be going in the 14th, 15th round. After Willis goes Keaton Mitchell and Sam Darnold. It is my pick. I'm either going Travis Hunter, Woody Marks, Aronde Gadsden. I'll go Travis Hunter for upside. Whoop. I missed my pick by a second. No big deal. I think it's I'm starting to get nervous about Aronde Gadsden, but I'll take him. It's going to be a 3 tight end build anyway. Gadsden had fallen further. Well, put it this way. Gadsden was going in that, well, he was going around or 2 later than he was going. So recently he's been going in the 14th and 15th, but prior to the Njoku and Kolar hype, he was going in the 12th round, maybe 11th, or along the names of Andrews and Ferguson and Kincaid. Not so sure what's going to happen there, but I know it's a damn good offense, so getting a piece of it, not so bad as a tight end 2 and a 3 tight end build. What the heck? There's a couple running backs here that maybe I should have turned to, but I am kind of overloaded on the running backs in this range. And there's kind of running backs spread throughout this spread throughout ADP that I can start to grab. Yeah, I'll save wide receiver and tight end until later, unless something pops into my face. I guess Kenyon Sadiq, he's coming off some sort of foot injury or foot surgery, though. Something's wrong with Kenyon Sadiq's foot or ankle or something. I got to look more into that. It scared me off of him for a little bit here. If Tyler Algier hangs around, I will grab him. Could grab Tesla as a bring back. I already have Jameson Williams and Jordan Addison on week 6 bye, so I'm going to stay away from Tesla. Stribling. Dylan Sampson is a guy I like. AJ Barner is a tight end I like. Branch and Judy are receivers I like a lot. So those are the week 11 bye guys that I talk about liking later. Yeah, I'd like to get one of these running backs here. It'd make me feel a bit cozier about only going with 5 and grabbing an 8th receiver, which I think I'm going to do. I think it'll be a 2-5-8-3 build. Yeah, with having Bijan and Jeremiah Love, I might want somebody to really. Ooh. So one of the running backs I kind of like in this zone is Tyler Algier. I do not like handcuffing in tournament style play, but I think there's a little bit of what I call a ham and egg approach to the Arizona running backs. The only thing that could screw it up is James Conner, really. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson in Bijan Robinson's rookie year really ham and egged it. So Tyler Algier had a good week. Bijan would have a good week. I'm gonna try the handcuff here. I don't recommend doing it, but I do think there's still a chance that Algier could get traded. I know they just signed him off free agency. What the heck? I'm going to stack Jaden Daniels with Antonio Williams. Oh, that gives me all 7 receivers, didn't it? Oh, and Travis Hunter was a bring back on that. Okay. That does give me 7 receivers, but I'm going to go with 8. Good. Passed up on Dylan Sampson there. I like the Cleveland running back. Think there is a bit of a safe floor there. But there are other running backs that have been kind of tickling my fancy. Oh, I definitely do not want 3 running backs with the same bye week. I was looking at Jaden Blue as a possibility there. Could do. Oh, no. I already have Corey Krosky-Merritt is also a stack with Jaden Daniels. Didn't think about that. I need to look at tight end, actually. Gunnar. You going to leave me Gunnar Helm? Maybe Greg Dulcich. I was high on Terrence Ferguson at different points. Fading him a little bit. Oh, I mean, I guess if he's a 17th or 18th round pick again, I could do it. See some upside wide receivers coming up here. If you're watching, please hit that like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when I'm coming on. I think I'm going to try to do more nighttime evening drafts like this. My original thought was that I was going to have a marathon Sunday. I think Sundays, what I'm going to do is start the Sunday morning routine during the season. I have start sits and different roster moves and go through my rankings and show you what rankings I'm publishing on Fantasy Pros. So I might just start my Sunday mornings now. Might do like 3 or 4 hour episodes Sunday mornings and then shift my other streams to 7 p.m. I think I'm an East Coast guy, but I think what I might do as a gimmick is start them all at 7:20 East Coast, saying it's 4:20 somewhere. Which reminds me, I probably need to calm down a little bit. Come on, give me Helm. Let me get Gunnar Helm and feel better about this tight end room. And then I can fill in a running back and wide receiver at will. Come on, man. Back 9 is probably listening. All right. I don't have much Greg Dulcich. I'll grab him here. Be done with my tight ends. Running backs, I got a couple in mind, couple receivers in mind. Where did Tank Dell go? A couple picks before me. So I'm coming up right here at the turn. I'm going to go with Marshawn Lloyd. Marshawn Lloyd has burned me thoroughly the past 2, maybe even 3 years. He's gone down with injury mid-summer or early summer after I already have 20% of them. I had none of them before OTAs. And in fact, all the way through OTAs, no Marshawn Lloyd. Then the past 2 weeks, all of a sudden, I'm like, well, he's still sitting here in the 18th. And if I don't have Josh Jacobs, I might as well complete the bet against him and go with Marshawn Lloyd. So that's been my little philosophy as we close out these drafts. And on top of that, the other running back I had in mind was Nick Singleton. I have a ton of Nick Singleton, like literally 34%, I think, Nick Singleton in both pre-draft and post-draft. Nick Singleton and Jonathan Brooks are my most owned players. Thank you, because I was seriously considering going a sixth running back. Scott, you saved me from Nick Singleton. I would definitely want a receiver, and I had one in mind here. Although if Pat Bryant is sticking around, I might just grab Pat Bryant, the wide receiver 3 on Denver. Actually, there's 3 wide receiver 3s, but Pat Bryant will be the most consistent of which. And if Sutton goes down, Pat Bryant will play that outside X position, and he'll do it well. I really like Pat Bryant. I can't see myself passing him up in the 18th. But if one of you folks would like him, I highly recommend him. I do have a backup plan. And if you take my backup plan, I know you're strictly trying to get under my skin. This 17th round, we see Stowers, Cup, Jeremy Bernard, Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel is a guy I had starred. Ted Hurst, Torrey Franklin, Kalen Black, Jacoby Lane, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Singleton. 19th or 18th, it is my pick. And I'm going to go with Pat Bryant. Xavier Thomas is sitting there as a stack with Caleb Williams, but Pat Bryant is going to put up more points. I will go over my team and any of yours. If you comment in here, let me know which team is yours. I'll go over your team. And if you want me to be nice, just say be nice. I'm team 8 or whatever. As I go over the draft, I am going to jump in a super flex, the German Shepherd, but super flex. I haven't done any of the German Shepherd. And I'm not going to do any in slow drafts, just because, I literally have 85 slow drafts open. If I were to mix in 10 Shepherds, I would get mixed up with the super flex and the non-super flex. Just a heads up, it is starting to storm here in the Baltimore area. I live in an area with a lot of trees. Those trees, especially this time of year when it gets windy, limbs fall, power goes out. So if all of a sudden everything cuts out, have a great night. But and I'll try to come back. A lot of times StreamYard can stay open for a period of time. If it comes right back, I'll be right back. But if you see me go out suddenly, it's because power went out. And have a great night. But we are going to do one more draft. The German Shepherd. We were waiting for 3 in the German Shepherd but Superflex. If you want to join in with us, we'd love to have you. Let me know you're watching and playing and doing all that. Say hi in the chat. Yes, you've got to subscribe, but you can unsubscribe as soon as the stream is over. I have the chat set up so you can only comment if you're a subscriber. It doesn't cost anything, but it just keeps the bots out. All right. So ADP. Oh, hold on. Let me go over this team. We've got the Superflex filled. Got 40 seconds to go over my team here. I started out Bijan Robinson, Rashee Rice, Jeremiah Love, Colston Loveland, Javonte Williams. Then I went with 2 quarterbacks, Daniels, Caleb Williams. Came back with Jaden Reed and Jordan Addison. In the 10th, I grabbed Bill, Ja'Cory Crossing-Merritt. In the 11th, Jaden Higgins. Don't love that pick. Grabbed Travis Hunter in the 12th as a bring back to my Washington stackish thing. Aronde Gadsden because Chiga Okonkwo was sniped from me. And then in the 14th, Algier as a handcuff, but really, as I said, more of a stack cuff, a ham and egg type play. Sorry, I'm in the 3-hole in this super flex and just want to see how the 2-hole plays it. I'll go over that in a second. To close out my draft, Antonio Williams to stack with Jaden Daniels. Greg Dulcich is just a third tight end. Marshawn Lloyd as that dart throw. I talked about him. And then Pat Bryant as a consistent kind of floor play for a relatively strong Denver offense. Okay, so in the Superflex, I'm drafting from the 3-hole. I went with Lamar Jackson. ADP, why isn't this booting up? Come on. Location. Why isn't the draft? Why is it? All right, there we go. So I took Lamar Jackson. By ADP, it has Gibbs 2 and Bijan Robinson 4. So I could have grabbed Gibbs there. I just think so. I do understand and appreciate the running back upside or positional upside that Bijan and Gibbs theoretically give you. But Lamar Jackson is coming off a down year and has a chip on his shoulder, has something to prove. I really like it. I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen give you that upside at quarterback that you don't get in any other position. So to me, it doesn't matter which direction you go in these first 4 picks. But what matters to me is coming back in the second round. Let's evaluate the running backs against the quarterbacks in this round. Also, the positions here, starting positions, it's super flex. I think it's 2 starting running backs and 2 starting receivers, then a flex and a super flex. So one of those, we replace one of the wide receiver positions with a super flex, not the flex position with a super flex. So you see running backs go off the board a lot quicker than you do wide receivers as compared to a usual draft, as you should. Because in a usual draft, you're usually looking to fill 4 positions with wide receivers. In this, it's either 2 or 3 positions with wide receivers. Starting to get a little hoarse. This is actually, I'm recording. Hold on one second. All right, so by ADP here, I'm going to be able to get Barkley or Henry on the turnaround. What's Lamar's bye week? 13. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy here. I feel like Brock Purdy's a super safe quarterback floor play. If it were Ashton Genty or Jonathan Taylor that came back, I probably would have gone running back with that pick. But since it's either Barkley or Henry or Amari and Hampton, why is Henry ahead of him? Amari and Hampton or Kenneth Walker. I'm going to grab Barkley here. And maybe I could have gone 2 running back and grabbed the quarterback later. But as you can see, like there is a thirst for the quarterback position. And I feel like everybody's trying to have 2 quarterbacks by the end of the 3rd round, really. I mean, we'll see what happens here because the tier of quarterbacks will definitely fall off at a certain point. But the quarterbacks I got, I'm super happy with. I will grab a 3rd, but I will not, I will not reach for a quarterback at all. In fact, I got little trick up my sleeve that I can do super late. And I'll tell you my philosophy on that when we get down deep there. I don't want anybody, because my last pick is the second to last pick in the whole draft in the 20th round. Anybody I mention could easily be snagged ahead of me. But so far, every time I've tried this, it's worked. So hopefully stick around to the 20th round and I can, pull out that little trick I have up my sleeve in super flex drafts. All right, so after my Barkley pick, we see Jared Goff, Bo Nix, Matt Stafford, Derrick Henry, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Huge rush on quarterback. The only teams without two quarterbacks are the 12 hole, what is this, the 7 hole, and the 2 hole. So only 3 teams without having two quarterbacks already. Nobody has a third yet. There's really, there's a few quarterbacks I could justify. Maybe at that 5-3. But there's also a couple of receivers still dangling out there that shouldn't be there. A bunch of running backs that should be taken by now. Although they'll probably be. No, I'll be able to get either a running back or a top-notch receiver with this next pick. Hoping to get, no quarterbacks. Oh, Malik Willis went, so that's team in the 7 hole now has 2 quarterbacks. A.J. Brown, Drake London were the receivers I was eyeing up, but I get left with my guy, Breece Hall. I'm all over that. Loving the way this team is looking. So there's a bunch of quarterbacks sitting here by ADP. And all right, CJ Stroud is the only one I really like, and that was the first team to grab a third quarterback. This team in the 2 hole should really grab one of those 2 quarterbacks that are remaining, or one of the. Not grabbing Cam Ward, I feel like, is a mistake. I am going to go. I should probably go Travis Etienne, but I'm going to go Rashee Rice just based on upside. What could be. It's pretty tricky there. Kyren Williams being picked before I'm surprised the guy in the 2 hole went with Kyren Williams over Travis Etienne. Oh, the guy in the 4 hole only had 1 quarterback, now has 2. I missed that one. We see teams starting to grab their third. Cam Ward goes. Really only 2 quarterbacks I would want on my roster remaining. And there goes Etienne. He lasted a while. I like the team in the 6 hole. Jaden Daniels, Ashton Genty, Stafford, meh. But Jeremiah Love and Travis Etienne. This 6 hole is looking good. The only difference between them and me is I went Rashee Rice over Etienne. And, I like Genty better than Barkley, but I like Purdy better than Stafford. So, yeah, I think the 6 hole. Anybody here in the 6 hole? I like your squad. After Etienne, the quarterbacks start closing out, really. Bryce Young, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. Imagine being stuck at they're not even stuck at quarterback. Most of them are grabbing a third quarterback. This guy at the turn, though, a little stuck. Yeah, Fernando Mendoza is looking like, and the guy at the turn went Bowers and McBride. At the 3-4 turn, I think that was a mistake. That's something you try once. is having a talk with a girl about something she tried once. And not a girl, a lady. I'm 53 years old. I got to stop. I don't talk to girls like that. Anyway, let's get off that subject. What do I got here coming up? On the bring back here. So after Geno Smith at 5'10", when David Montgomery at 5'11", and Pickens at the 5'12", then starting the sixth, we see Fernando Mendoza, DeAndre Swift, Quinshon Judkins, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs going after Judkins, Swift, Montgomery is crazy. Then at the 6'5", T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Colston Loveland, Scam Cataboo, Chris Olave. I will grab Zay Flowers. Yeah, liking this squad. Liking it a lot. I'm probably going to go running back when it comes back to me, but only eyeing up two of them. Good. Bucky, Tetore McMillan goes after my pick. I do like that. Bucky Irvin going. Fantastic. Trey Henderson goes. Jacoby Brissett goes as the two-hole second quarterback. I'm going to grab Bayshell Tootin. So I have 3 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 quarterbacks. Just missing a tight end from a starting lineup. That isn't what I'm focusing on doing. But after Tootin, the running backs, I think, drop off dramatically. I should start picking some Jadarian Price. I just want him to fall a little bit more. If Jadarian Price falls into that Tony Pollard tier, I'll start to grab him. Sorry, little frog in my throat. So earlier today, I recorded a stream. Well, I guess it's not a stream. I recorded video for another website and YouTube channel I'm doing that has nothing to do with fantasy football. It is, I'm a teacher, and I'm putting all of my lessons from 20 years of teaching over a dozen different courses. I'm putting all of that in YouTube and on a website, and going to go from there, build it out as kind of a teacher resource, student resource, and maybe eventually go to building an online school, or just talking about what everybody should have learned in high school and didn't, and why, our and how our depleted educational system is really spitting out people that have less and less common sense. Common sense is what you learn in high school. If you didn't learn anything in high school, you got no sense. That is what I am seeing in the world today, and that's what I'm going to try to fight. Try to bring some nobility back to the profession of teaching. So many people say things like, "Oh, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it." And then they proceed to whine about it and do nothing about it. So let's get educated. Let's see what's being taught. Just because students aren't learning doesn't mean they aren't being taught. Anyway, after my Tootin pick went Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, Ladd McConkey, Jadarian Price, Emeka Egbuka, Terry McLaurin, Luther Burden, Chuba Hubbard closes out the 7th. I'll go over the 8th as soon as I make my pick. I think DJ Moore is being underdrafted. It's going to be Buffalo's starting wide receiver. Oh, wow. I bet you the Josh Allen drafter is cussing me out right now. Oh, I didn't even realize that the Flowers Lamar stack. Oh, that's so pretty. I should probably be eyeing up somebody from San Francisco, right? Oh, there's only two. So it is kind of, it's running back time, actually, for me. I should have grabbed running back on the way up there. Let me see. Yeah, I want my running backs to kind of keep pace with my wide receivers. I like Ramondre Stevenson a lot. Yeah, I'm cool with that. And so we are looking. Oh, I should. In this format, I don't want to say always and never are just two nonsense words in our language. But 99% of the time, I go with 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, 6 running backs, and 8 receivers in this format. Sometimes I go 7 running backs, 7 receivers. Receivers are just less consistent than running backs. So that's why I tend to like more of them, even in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex kind of format. Receivers could also fill in your super flex on boom weeks, or if a bunch of them have boom weeks. I guess the running back could too, but that's why I have 4 early ones, relatively early ones. Ooh. I forgot to go over it. So the 8th round, Tua Tagovailoa starts out the 8th, followed by Rome Odunze, Jalen Warren, Mike Evans, Tyler Warren, Jamison Williams, Christian Watson, Carnell Tate, Tony Pollard, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Parker Washington closes out the 8th. To start the 9th, we see Rico Dowdle, Michael Penix, Ramondre Stevenson, RJ Harvey, Jordan Tyson, Brian Thomas, J.K. Dobbins, Tucker Kraft, Kyle Monangai, Alec Pierce, DK Metcalf, and Quinshon Judkins closes out the 9th. We're coming up on the 10th round here. I got a running back in queue who's never going to make it back to me, but man, I would really like to have him on this squad. Starting to look at some tight ends here. Definitely want a receiver. Yeah, I can go receiver on the bring back. Yeah, there's a couple of receivers there on the comeback that I definitely like. Need to keep in mind the San Francisco wide receivers a little bit next turn, hopefully, or later. So there are some San Francisco real late receivers I can grab. All right, so Jonathan Brooks goes. I talked about him in probably both of the past 2 drafts. Really like Jonathan Brooks. In a super flex, he goes in the 10th, so I can grab him again. Theoretically, that's really just the 8th round in a normal draft, but it's double digits. I told myself I wouldn't go single digits with him, and I still went to round 9. I won't chase him up to round 8, but in a super flex, I do like him still. Would have loved it if he fell. So the 10th round, Chris Godwin, Jaden Reed, Sam Laporta, Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks, Mekhi Lemon, Deshaun Watson. So Mekhi Lemon goes in a bit better range, but there's still like the next tier of receivers. Mekhi Lemon should go in the next tier of receivers. Or the next tier of receivers should be moved up ahead of Mekhi Lemon, however you want to look at it. I think we're going to go with a tight end here, I think. Although, I'm going to go receiver first because there's 2 tight ends I like. Yeah, Pitts is going to go. I kind of knew that. By ADP, I should have grabbed him, but there's no. Smitty, you're not going to let me stack Kittle? Come on, man. You know what? I'm going to reach. Or should I just grab a receiver here and screw the stack? I just grabbed a receiver. It's time for a tight end. I'll stack Mark Andrews. Reaching over Travis Kelce. Was that a reach of like 10 picks? Yeah, about 11. Pretty big reach, but wanted to stack. Andrews should be going in this range anyway. I like Andrews better than Kittle, but I would have liked to have been able to stack Kittle and hope to try to push Andrews. Actually, I like Andrews better than Kittle, so I guess it worked out for me. I definitely would have liked another wide receiver in this zone, though, too. But again, not that important. Can grab them later. All right, so after Andrews, or if you didn't catch it, after I picked Cortland Sutton, before I picked Cortland Sutton, Harold Fannin went. He is now in a range where I'm going to start to draft Fannin. Then Kyle Pitts and George Kittle go right after my Sutton pick. Jordan Addison is a receiver I had my eye on, have a lot of, but plan on getting more. Addison should probably, I said it earlier, should be going ahead of Pierce, Metcalf, Johnson in this Jaden Reed kind of range ahead of Sutton. So maybe I should have grabbed Addison instead of Sutton. But we forge forward. After Addison went Jordan Mason, I took Andrews. Then when Rashad White, JCM, Bill, goes with the 11-5. Then Mike Wilson, Aaron Jones, Michael Pittman, Travis Kelce, Chris Rodriguez, Xavier Worthy, Josh Downs. Xavier Worthy and Downs were two wide receivers I had in my queue, along with Pittman, that I was kind of hoping for. All right, so coming back, there are a couple tight ends here, a couple receivers, a running back. Yeah, it's a good zone for just about every position, actually. Let's see what we get. Start the 12th goes Wan'Dale Robinson, Matthew Golden, Ricky Purcell. I was hoping would make it to me to stack with Purdy. Jake Ferguson goes. Jacoby Myers goes. Jacoby Myers will probably be going about 4 rounds earlier, 3 rounds earlier than he currently is when he gets hyped during camp. Dallas Goedert and Kincaid go. I was eyeing those up. Casey Concepcion goes. Shedeur Sanders. I will grab myself some Tyrone Tracy, as I believe Scam Cataboo will be a scatabust. He'll probably have 4 or 5 good weeks to start the season, get his 9th concussion of the season, and go on an IR with CTE if he doesn't have it already. I said earlier, the reason I don't like Scataboo is he's coming off an injury that was probably triggered because he's very slow to begin with. Certainly the injury isn't going to speed him up. And he plays too recklessly to play in the NFL. Concussions and other injuries occur when you go headfirst into everything. Take it from me, in my years of playing college rugby, concussions build up and cause damage. So after my Tracy pick went Isaiah Pacheco, Romeo Doubs, Isaiah Likely, Kirk Cousins, and I took Chig Okonkwo as my second tight end. Still haven't been able to stack Purdy. Do have Lamar double stacked. And no, I need a third quarterback. Oh no, I'm in trouble. Oh, I like the end of these drafts. And watch, I'm going to get snagged on it somehow. I'm going to get sniped on it somehow. So I got to stay away from certain guys. Let me dodge some bullets here. Ooh, how many wide receivers do I have? Only 4 wide receivers. It is wide receiver time. Wide receiver crazy. Oh, there ain't a whole lot of selection, to be honest. Not a zone I want to really be going wide receiver crazy now that I take a look at it. But we'll find something to work with. Hopefully. Might be forced into doing something that I'm not thrilled about. All right, come on. Leave me my guy. Start reaching for stuff. It's a great time to grab running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks. Any quarterbacks left? No, there's no quarterbacks left. Not going to fool anybody there, am I? I might grab a running back if that's all that's left. There's actually 2 running backs in this zone. I can close out my running back room pretty comfortably if neither of the receivers I want fall to me. Dylan Sampson is one of the running backs I liked. I said that earlier. Tyler Algier is another one I have quite a bit of. But I luckily am able to snag Rashid Shaheed. I think he's going to have quite a year. 2 years ago with New Orleans, he had a breakout season. Last year, he split time between New Orleans with a rotating quarterback room and went to Seattle. And he couldn't really fit in. He couldn't jump on that moving train. Couldn't really fit into the rhythm of what they were doing, even though he did have experience with the offensive coordinator. I'm going to grab Travis Hunter there in the 15th. As a boom bust kind of guy, high upside. Both Rashid Shaheed and Travis Hunter give me good upside. I think that kind of gives me some comfy cozy in that wide receiver room. So I can really dance around any position here. But I feel like let me just look. Quarterback and tight end. There's actually a couple of ways I could go with that. But just want to keep them in mind. All right, so I need 1 more running back and 2 more wide receivers on top of the 1 quarterback, 1 tight end. After my Rashid Shaheed pick, we saw Coleman and Brian Robinson go. Then Jalen Naylor and Juwan Jennings. I went with Travis Hunter. I got the 2 wide receivers I was hoping for. After that goes TJ Hawkinson, Denzel Boston, Jalen McMillan, Ryan Flournoy, Tank Bigsby, Sean Tucker, AJ Barner, Trey Harris, and who's closing out the 15th? Alvin Kamara. Ooh. Couple of tight ends that I kind of like sitting here, so I might deviate from an original plan. Maybe not. San Francisco and Baltimore I could stack, right? I don't really need to stack Baltimore anymore, but it's really easy to do. Actually, it's easy to stack San Francisco too. And I can do Baltimore next round if I want to. A couple of running backs here I like. There's a couple of running backs later I can grab. Wide receivers are good. All right, so the quarterback trick I have up my sleeve, I may not stack. I usually stack him. Oh, no. Gunnar Helm, Firemuth, Dulcich all go. Kate Houghton's a possibility, but he just seems so plain and ordinary. And let me think about the bringbacks. Baltimore's bringback is Cincinnati. San Francisco's bringback is Philadelphia. I'm going to grab DeJon Stribling for the San Francisco stack. One more wide receiver, one more running back. Oh, I know where I'm going. Yep. So instead of Nick Singleton or Marshawn Lloyd, I'm going to go with Jaden Blue here. Finish out my running back room. Now, it's probably just rumor and speculation, but word on the street is that Jaden Blue has had his head on the right track in camp. Or in OTAs, I guess I should say. Camp hasn't really started yet. The biggest problem with Jaden Blue last year is that he was all show and no go. Wore Louis Vuitton cleats and got blisters and couldn't practice. Just mentally not mature enough to really be an NFL player. So they sat him on the bench, and apparently he got his head on straight in the off season and is working hard. He was at OTAs every day and putting in the effort necessary to be an NFL wide receiver. So when you hear that, you kind of gotta go. You gotta kind of give it to him and put him on your roster. All right. So this turn, maybe a tight end. We're at the 18-19 turn here. I have 3 picks left. After Jaden Blue, or after Stribling, went Kate Otten, Braylon Allen, Isaac Tesla, Adonai Mitchell. I took Jaden Blue. Then we see Ray Davis, Nick Singleton, Nick Singleton is a guy I have a ton of. I talked about earlier. Katron Allen, Dontavian Wicks, Marshawn Lloyd goes there. Zachariah Branch, Malik Washington, David Njoku, Mike Washington, the running back on Vegas, rookie. And that closes out the 17th. To start the 18th, we see Jeremy Bernard, rookie wide receiver from Pittsburgh. Colby Parkinson, George Halani, Ted Hurst, Cooper Kupp, Justice Hill. Oh, there's a ton of other running backs I still like. I wouldn't have passed on any of my running backs. Really like my running back room the way it is. There's wide receivers here. There's one wide receiver I really need to pass up. But he's so high upside. Tight end is a priority. Gesicki was my bring back, man. Okay. I'm going to grab Tank Dell. At one point, I literally had 47% Tank Dell. Yeah, not something you want to do with any pick. Um, I think he's down in the 30 some low 30s as far as ownership percentage. Um, I think he just has more upside than anybody being drafted. My third tight end, I'm gonna take my Purdy, add a Purdy stack. I'm gonna add Jake Tonges. Um, in the weeks, I think it was 4 of the 6 weeks George Kittle missed. Jake Tonges was a top 10 top 10 tight end. Not that you really want to be top 6, but with Kittle coming off an Achilles tear, being old, playing recklessly, always hurt several games during the season, maybe Tonjes can fill in a couple of my bye weeks. I do feel pretty strongly about Andrews and Okonkwo. My other choice at tight end was going to be a guy I could stack with the quarterback I'm going to draft in the last round. And I'll talk about that after I pick it. I don't want anybody. Oh, I don't want that actually. There's a couple of guys. There's a couple of players I could, if my guy is taken. There's a couple of quarterbacks that are still out there that I wouldn't mind sticking on the roster. We need to keep in mind last year, and most years, but last year was particularly high. I believe there was 66 different starting quarterbacks, not just that played time, but started in games last season. I think that number is correct. I think the year before it was lower 60s, and before that it was mid to high 50s. So even if there's 55 quarterbacks that start some games, what you have to do here, if you're going to play this like I do, 2 early quarterbacks, and I don't always get it in the second round. Usually it's the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. But then I play around in these later rounds. A lot of times you'll see the Atlanta quarterbacks fall or the Cleveland quarterbacks fall into like the 14th, 15th round, and you can kind of nab some there. Or the Vegas quarterbacks sometimes will drift there. If you can't get that, though, I'm going to show you what I do. After my Tonjes pick went, is that Jordan James? No. Yeah, Jordan James, Elijah Surratt, Kamani Vidal, Christian Kirk. Yeah. What'd you say? Atticus, hey, what's up? Tonjes and Myers late. I'm always debating. Eli Raritan, yes, he is draftable. So I usually go with Myers late. I have over 15% Myers. What you're going to see here is I didn't get to stack him, but I'm going to go with Jameis Winston. Jackson Dart, just like his running back Scottaboo, plays recklessly. Doesn't go out of bounds. Will literally put his head down to take a hit. He's a football player, and he's young. And he's able to run and just does a lot of things that don't help you maintain health. And Winston is one of the few quarterbacks that when he gets in, you feel pretty good about putting him in your starting lineup. He puts up fantasy points. So I usually like to last round or so. Usually if it's on the other side of the board, I will do a Theo Johnson, Jameis Winston. I think Theo Johnson should be drafted and should be mentioned along with the Tonjes and the Mayer, certainly ahead of Ingram. But I think Theo Johnson is the equivalent. Think about Isaiah Likely on Baltimore. he was never able to start, right? He always had Mark Andrews there. Now, Theo Johnson probably isn't Mark Andrews, but if you look at Theo Johnson's games with Jackson Dart, and Jameis Winston, I think, is actually, as far as like feeding his receivers, better than Jackson Dart. But if you look specifically at the games Jackson Dart started and then look at Theo Johnson's touchdowns, there's almost a 1-to-1 correlation there. He loves looking at Theo Johnson in the end. Dart looks at Theo Johnson in the end zone. Jameis Winston just wings it all around. So like that is a stack I like, but I didn't really. I stacked Purdy with Stribling, but no other strong stacks were in that San Francisco stack. So I grabbed the Jake Tongas there. He should be able to put up a few weeks. If Kittle goes down, or when Kittle goes down, or if Kittle is slow to start the season. But to answer your question, Michael Mayer, yeah, I have over 15% of Michael Mayer. And I'm talking in 18-round drafts, not even in these 20-rounders. But I do get 3 tight ends across the board no matter what, especially when you grab Michael Mayer in the last round. But anyway, all right, so if anybody else is in this draft, let me know who you are. I'll go over your draft for you. But until then, mine went, sorry, raspy throat. I think I've hit my speaking limit for the day. Started Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy in the second, Saquon Barkley in the third, Breece Hall in the fourth, Rashee Rice in the fifth, Zay Flowers in the sixth, Bashal Tootin in the seventh, DJ Moore in the eighth, Ramondre Stevenson in the ninth, Cortland Sutton in the 10th, Mark Andrews in the 11th, Tyrone Tracy in the 12th, Chiga Conquo in the 13th, Rashid Shaheed in the 14th, Travis Hunter in the 15th, Deshaun Stribling in the 16th, Jaden Blue in the 17th, Tank Dell in the 18th, Jake Tunges in the 19th, Jameis Winston in the 20th. Guys, just stop. Stop drafting in the German Shepherd plus Superflex. I got this. It's one already. Forget about it. Don't waste your money. I'll just take this and we'll move ahead. Yeah, I'm not sure what time I'm doing tomorrow. I think probably this time of night is best suited for the audience, and I'll just take a nap during the day so that I'm awake at night. But until then, have a great night. Go to wheelrouteff.com. I need to update rankings of all sorts. So I'm going to have sometime this week, I'll update the best ball rankings, of course. I'll update Dynasty. I will have your regular redraft rankings out there. And then there was something else I had in mind to do. I was thinking about Superflex or Tight End Premium, but that might come later. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Please definitely subscribe, and definitely turn on notifications. I don't have a regular schedule yet, but I'm going to be trying to do this on a daily basis. Hit it up. Until then, have a great day. See ya later.